Ngiyamthanda noma etheni noma enjani ngithanda yena wangempela. Ngiyamthanda uhlale nami emihleni njalo njalo uyafana. Ngiyamthanda yabona mpintshami angidlali mpintshami ngiyamthatha ngoDisemba. Ngiyamthanda so mamela skim sami themba mina awuthami ngizomthanda. Uzomthanda wena kodwa uzosola ngathi uyabakhohlwa abangani bakhe. Uzomthanda wena kodwa uzosola ngathi uyabakhohlwa bathanda imali. Anganamali kodwa uthanda yonke into engiyo. 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 Noma etheni noma enjani ngithanda yena wangempela. Ngiyamthanda uhlale nami emihleni njalo njalo uyafana. Ngiyamthanda yabona mpintshami angidlali mpintshami ngiyamthatha ngoDisemba. Ngiyamthanda so mamela skim sami themba mina awuthami ngizomthanda. Uzomthanda wena kodwa uzosola ngathi uyabakhohlwa abangani bakhe. Uzomthanda wena kodwa uzosola ngathi uyabakhohlwa bathanda imali.
Great morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're very excited that you're here. My name is Ronald Mukasa. I will be your moderator today. We're very excited that you're joining. Thank you for taking off time and joining us today. We are giving people a few minutes to join in and kind of log into the session. So we'll just do another 5 minutes as we wait for everyone to get on, and then we'll get the session going. Belinda is already logged on. She will be taking us through the session today. So we are very excited that she's here. But as our usual custom is, I'm going to request that we just introduce ourselves in the chat box. You tell us your name, the business you are doing. Possibly there is a client who you may get out of this. So please just share with us the business you do so that we can be able to get to know each other, build each other's businesses. That's what the recovery series are about. They're about just helping one another, lift one another. Please do introduce yourself, put it in the chat box, tell us the business you do, and we can be able to get the session going. So we'll give people just a few minutes to join in, and then we will be able to start our session. Thanks a lot once again. I've seen a number of people who have attended previous sessions. We're very excited that you're here. But at this moment, let us just drop something into the chat box. We drop it in there and we say the business which we do, what we're about, and then we can get the ball rolling. Our in-house DJ George can give us a bit of music in the background as we wait for the rest to join.
No, 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 no stopping us, stopping us, stopping us. Ain't no stopping us. Ain't no, 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 no stopping us, stopping us, stopping us. Ain't no stopping us.
You may be able to get a client. You may be able to get a client. You may be able to get the business going. Remember that these are our recovery series as Enterprise Uganda. We look forward to pushing, making sure that we recover during challenging times in business that we have been in. And we're here to energize one another, push each other, try to make sure that we are getting the best out of our businesses. And that's the reason why we go out of our way to share the business you do, make sure someone knows about it. You may not know that you may have a client here who has been looking for the service which you are offering, and this is the opportunity they have gotten to actually get it. So let's keep pushing. We're just giving our colleagues a few minutes to start off so that we can be able to move together. Belinda has already joined us. We are very excited that she has joined us today to facilitate this session. We are looking forward to hearing from her. We're very, very excited about today. And we're very, very happy that you have taken off time to join today. It's indeed an honor to have each and every one of you joining us and us working together to be able to walk this very complex journey of business, but a journey which is exciting, which many of you are walking and which many of you are succeeding at, even amidst very complex times. We have the introductions in the chat room. I encourage everyone to post your introduction, tell us your name, the business which you do, and just maybe someone may read through and they will be able to say, you know what, I think I can do business with you. With us here, we have Gloria Komakech, who is an events manager with Pretty Pals located in Gulu City. Gloria, greetings to you in Gulu. Greet everyone in Gulu. Judith Uliaba, who works with ICPAU. And ICPAU is the organization which brings Ugandan accountants together. If you want professional services, make sure that the accountant you're using is one who is registered by ICPAU. Judy, thank you so much for joining us. We have, yes, Baine. Baine is Slick and Slender. Most welcome, Madam Baine. We are very excited to have you here. They deal in preventing healthcare issues so that they help save you to have to go to the doctor in the first place. How to be a doctor of your own and make sure that you are healthy. We're very, very excited to have you, Slick and Slender, here. Kenneth Kayondo, Outspan Enterprises, they deal in office stationery and equipment. Kenneth, thank you so much for coming. Matthew Sekajolo, who is from Mitiana imperial reusable sanitary pads. Matthew, thank you so much for being here. That's a very interesting sector which you are in. We are very excited to have you. Then we have, yes, we have Belinda. Belinda is with health. She's a health specialist and safeguard. She's with Bell's Errands, markets, supermarkets, and shopping made easy. I think she does delivery services. Belinda, thank you so much for introducing us to Errands business, Bella's Errands. Mary Odongo, Capstone Residences, thank you, Mary, for being here with us. We have Susan Kamanyi, who is from Masupa Enterprises, and they manufacture clean cooking stoves and briquettes. Thank you so much for being here, Susan. We are very excited to see you. Yeah, Lucy Namubiru, who is from Lunas Enterprises of Uganda, making lovely sweaters. I have seen her sweaters. They're very nice. Madame Namubiru, we are very excited to have you here. Then we have Brian Tujiche, who is from Shilo Travel Agencies. They are travel dealers. They deal in car hire. They deal in washing and servicing of vehicles. Thank you so much for being here, Brian. We are very excited to have you. Margaret Nakakande, Director of Eloquent Business Solutions. She has put her contact there. Margaret, you may have to tell us what you do exactly, but we're very excited to see you here. Yes, we have Stephen. Yes, we have Stephen Lumonya, who is from Good Gully, Uganda. We support the informal caregivers, commonly known as patient attendants in hospitals. So if you have someone who needs those services, please just quickly have a chat with Stephen. He offers that service. Natabi Ruth is here from Engo Tours and Adventures. Ruth, we're very excited to have you. Monica, who is a BDS provider and our associate in Gulu. Monica, we're very happy to see you here. We have, yes, Stephen has shared the site, the website, you can get there. Juliet Nawire, who is a school proprietor, thank you. Emily, glad to see you again. Thank you for joining from Otis Advocates. Emily, we are very excited to have you here. Yes, Natabi has also shared her contact. Ojes, where Santino, electrics and merchandise business wholesalers in Arua. Thank you. So if you're in Arua, please make sure that you go to Santino's place. Then we have Maureen Dahura, who is from Ganjana Bakeries. Maureen, thank you for being here. We have Harriet. Harriet, I seem to have lost Harriet. Yes, Harriet Musoke, who is the head of human capital at DFC. Harriet, we're very excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Martha is also here with us. Thank you, Martha, for joining. Dunstan is from NGB Cotonopolis International, and they manufacture the manufacturers of hospitality products from Europe and Asia. Thank you so much for joining us. Please continue to share your details within the chat room. Talk about your business so that we can be able to grow together. Well, it's about time that we get into our session for today. Today we are very honored to host Belinda Namutebi. Belinda Namutebi is going to take us through a session which is going to focus on where our customers went. And we are very, very excited that she's here. She's an expert in this area, an expert in branding, an expert in how you go to market. And we're very excited that she's here. She's the co-founder and brand ambassador of Ondaba. And I believe that a number of you have interacted with her in the media. Belinda, when I posted the flyer in one of the forums I'm part of, the person came out and said Belinda used to play lovely music on radio. So I think you have a fan base out there which is wider than this specific skill set that you have. We are very excited to have you, and I will hand over to you, and you welcome, we welcome the participants today, and then we get to business.
Okay, thank you so much, Ronald Mukasa. A very good morning to you all. My name is Belinda Namutebi. I'm the brands lady, and I'm very grateful to Enterprise Uganda for giving us this opportunity for us to discuss business recovery in this season. Well, it's been a bit. How is your morning, Ronald?
Mine is a full one, but we are on our way.
Yes. So great. Let's get into it. Now, just give me a minute. Okay, finally, we have our presentation on, and I would like to welcome you all again to this session. Now, this is a branding discussion, and you may ask yourself, what do branding people do? So the role of a branding person goes beyond labeling your stationery or putting a signpost at your business or marking your uniforms or what else? Branding your corporate wear with your logo or doing your social media work. Your branding person should be able to link your product to the customer. That is what the branding people do. They look at the value of your product and they structure a message and they make sure that the customer can receive the message for the sole purpose of them opening up their wallets and buying the product so that the businesses can thrive. So I'm privileged to be a branding. I don't want to call myself a professional, Ronald. You know what happened? What COVID did is COVID took all of us back to school. COVID took all of us back to school. So we are novices and we are all learning, okay? And if we all go into the position of accepting new knowledge, especially in this season, then we shall agree that there are no experts. We have to build our expertise again, all right? So, oh, does the speaker have a bad network? We can hardly hear. Ronald, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You could possibly speak a bit louder, but I think I can hear you.
Okay. I was told that I'm soft spoken, so I need to raise my voice. Is that better, Ronald?
Yeah, that's much better. That's much better.
Great. Lauren said that they can hear as well. So I was saying, we don't have experts anymore, especially if we are business people. So putting ourselves in a position where we are new students to our businesses will help us. Okay, they said I can turn off the video. Will help us progress a lot further. All right. So what am I trying to say? That whatever I'm going to share this morning is something that I have practiced. I'm not just a branding professional. I also have brands on the market that have gone through a business recovery. And so I'm going to share with you what I've been able to do during this season. Gloria Komakech, great, loud and clear on your side. So let's move forward. Now, before the lockdown, if you had a branding professional or if you had opened a business and managed to attract some customers, this is what you might have done knowingly or unknowingly. Rona, let's go to the next slide. Now, we all know that the customer is the heartbeat of the business. The customer is the reason that we exist. They are the reason that our businesses grow, and it's the reason that we are here this morning. Now, the whole discussion about customer shifts relates to three things: the product of the business, the message that we craft to be able to communicate to the customer, and the media channels that we use. When we are talking about now, before the lockdown, I'm very sure all of us knew who our customers were, all right? We also knew how much money we were making every month. We even had seasons. People who have schools would know that when schools are open, this is how much money that we make. And everybody who was connected to the chain of schools knew that if it is back to school, then we are going to do uniforms, we are going to sell stations, who supply firewood also had their rhythms. We all knew how the trends were. And what would usually happen in a normal branding exercise is you sit down and profile your customer. Okay? You profile your and ask yourself very critical questions that will help you make decisions in the business. You would ask yourself things like, who is my customer? What is their name? It is good to know their names. Okay, I've been told I have a problem with my network. If someone can hear me, please give me a heads up.
I can hear you. We seem to hear you clearly. I'm not very sure. I think we are hearing you.
Okay, great. So we are still on profiling the customer. So you ask, who is my customer? How old are they? Age is very important. You need to know if you're targeting children, if you're targeting young adults, or you're targeting older people. Then you ask yourself the question, are they male or female? All right. Then how much money does my customer earn? How much your customer earns determines how much they are going to buy from you. Okay, sometimes you can find out how much your customer earns by maybe finding out where they work or what kind of business that they do. The amount of money that your customer earns is going to determine their basket of goods. Okay, when we come later to the point of innovation, that is when you will still go back to the question and say, if I add another product to my business, will my customer be able to buy it? And that really depends on how much money they earn. You ask yourself other questions. Where does my customer stay? Are they in an urban area or are they in a rural setting? Okay, if you have many customers in a place, before the lockdown, you will choose to set up a location there. These are statistics that determine the location of stores. If you've seen banks and telecoms expanding to different places, the information that they use to make those decisions is based on the customer profiles. So you find out, where does my customer stay? All right. Then you find out, what is their education level. If I'm to communicate to them, do I use English? Do I use a local language? Or do I do a mix of a vernacular and some pop culture? You know, because your message has to get to the customer. Then you would ask, what is their source of entertainment? Where do they hang out? Do they go to Governor? Do they watch the Premier League? Do they go to the National Theatre to watch a play? Do they go to a Chigunda Chomwaka? We all know the entertainment points we have in the city. Now, the reason you ask yourself those questions is in case you wanted to advertise or to partner with those companies, you would know exactly where to put your message. I will go to schools. I had quite a number of people who have schools. I'm sure advertisers have approached you because they have products for children. Where do your customers' kids go to school? And I'm sure most of you, when you've driven your kids to school, you've seen billboards of Blue Band, you've seen DSTV advertising close to the schools, you've seen Ribena, You've seen organizations or brands that target children advertising close to the schools. They have profiled their customer and they are looking for opportunities for their messages to be seen. Then you will also ask, which media channels does my customer consume? Do they listen to radio? Are they on the phone? Are they on Facebook so that we can use social media influencers? Do they watch TV? Do they watch the news so that we can put an advert in the news? All right. So you do a profile of this customer. Some people go down to the point of giving that customer a name and saying, this is who our customer looks like. And when you see them in the market, you go out and grab them because you know those are the people who will open their wallets and give money to your business. So when you got that information before, you would choose where you're going to locate your store. That is the POS, all right? This presentation is being projected remotely, so I'm not able to use the cursor. So POS is, you say, okay, this is where my location is going to be based on the information you've got from the customer survey. Right there. Thank you very much. And then after choosing where your location of the store is going to be, you go and structure a message. You say, this is the message that will extract the value of my product and deliver it to the customer. All right. After preparing your message, you will use the media channel. If your customers listen to Kaliso Liso in the morning, you're going to go to CBS and tell CBS, I need to have an advert in this slot, because, you know, as your customer is driving to work, they will play your advert and you will remind them about your product. The information about the customer profile also helps us in business growth. Okay, if you're planning to scale to the different towns in Uganda, you will still use your customer profile and ask the serious questions that will help you make that very important business decision. Now, this was us before the lockdown. We were comfortable. Some things were obvious. You could even go to a brand that has similar customers like yours and use their statistics, because things had been so regular for a very long time. For the people who have bought media, there are people who would sign long-term contracts with the media houses because, you know, I mean, these are the seasons. We have Christmas, we have back to school, we have Easter, and then we have Independence Day. You know, we knew all these events and how they were happening around us. So it was easy to predict. And when I sit back, I think we were getting a little bit lazy. All right. So we were comfortable. We were very, very comfortable and everything was going well. And then boom, the lockdown happens. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, the slides will be given to you later if possible. So the lockdown happened. So when the lockdown happens, it breaks.
Between home and here was not have network. So
yes.
I was lucky there was not.
Okay, I had someone speaking in the background. So the lockdown happens. When the lockdown happens, everything changes. The first thing is that there's a significant impact on health and high costs of treatment on the customer. All right? The customer all of a sudden has to look at their health. And also, we know people got sick. I also got COVID. And that moment when you are sick, the only important thing at that time is survival. So customers got sick, their family members got sick, relatives got sick, employees got sick. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's focus was on survival and making sure that people are okay. Okay. And you know, the effects of COVID is not just the treatment, it is the so many tests that you need to do. It is the sanitary measures that you have to take in the home. So much money was spent. Okay, there's someone in the waiting room. I'm an admin and it's flashing on the screen. A lot of the customers' money was now shifted to focusing on survival for themselves, survival for their employees, and survival for their family members. Then there were the restrictions on movement. Restrictions of movement will definitely affect businesses because all of a sudden, people will be forced to shop from their localities. I mean, even if we have the lockdown, people need to eat, people need to, their life has to go on. So a person like me who used to shop from Capital Shoppers and earn so many points every month and even earn, a session of free shopping, I have not shopped from Capital Shoppers in 8 months. Why? Because when the lockdown happened, I needed to find another place in my neighborhood to do my shopping. I've actually been buying most of my stuff from my neighbor. Okay. Now, because I'm not buying from Capital Shoppers, they are losing income. And I'm not the only one. The closure of businesses. Schools have been closed up to now. Entertainment places have not opened. When a business closes, the people who used to supply items to school, the people who used to supply fuel, firewood, stationery, the people who used to make uniforms for schools, all of a sudden they do not have an income, right? Entertainment places have also closed. That also has an impact on those customers. The loss of jobs, most of the companies were forced to downsize because, well, they had to survive. People lost jobs. When people lose jobs, they lose income. That means the amount of money available to buy goods and services decreases. And then there's a psychological effect of the loss of a job. All of a sudden, people have to make sure that the money that they have will be able to take them for a while, all right? Then we had closure of churches and entertainment places. This is a social aspect. Sometimes we underlook the effect of this would be spiritual nourishment, okay? Spiritual nourishment does a lot for our well-being. Entertainment as well, all right? When people would go to National Theatre for that comedy series, it would crown their week, and that contributed a lot to their well-being. Now, all of a sudden, churches are closed. You cannot go out for any kind of entertainment. You're locked up in the house. That definitely has an effect on the customer. And like I said, the first thing that the customer focuses on right now is how are they going to survive? All right. So let's go to the next slide. So remember the description that I showed you before, where we were all very comfortable with where the customer was. After all these things have happened, after the customer has been restricted, after the customer has shifted their expenditures and they're spending a lot of money on health and treatment, after their businesses have been closed, the customer shifts. The customer shifts to the point that all the information that you had before is not targeting them anymore. When the customer shifts, it's like they lock up, pack up their bag and move to a new address. Okay, so if you have been using information you had before the lockdown to target this customer, that customer is not there anymore. They have shifted. They have gone to another place. If you sent an email to them, or if we go back to the old days and you sent a letter, it would bounce. The customer is not at that address. All right? The customer is not at that address. They have shifted. I have very poor network here in Gulu. Will you be able to share the slides? Yes, the slides will be shared. So the customer has shifted. So I promised to share some of the things that we have done at Ondaba. Now, one of the things, all of us need to understand what product it is that we are selling. I sell national pride. Okay, the presentation that I shared with Ronald is missing the slides I had prepared for the products that I do, but I'll quickly go through them. So before the lockdown, we had our brand. We had a brand called Anso Uganda Ondaba. Most of you have seen it. Okay, now this brand was positioned for international travel. So what used to happen is we used to partner with tour and travel agencies, and we used to partner with people who are traveling abroad. You know, those were our major customers, and that's where we were focusing. All right. Now, when the lockdown happened, there was restriction on travel. What does that mean? That tourists were not coming and people were not going away. And the effect on our business was that the shirt sales went down. Okay. So we realized that the lockdown was going to go on for a very long time. So we looked at the customer again, and this time we knew that if tourists are not coming, there is an opportunity for domestic travel to flourish. We decided to focus on the Ugandan, and we asked ourselves the question, we are selling national pride. We all need to be very clear of what we are selling. What product is your business selling? Are you selling refreshment? Are you selling hospitality? Are you selling financial literacy? Are you selling beauty? Are you selling wealth services? Yeah, you need to be very clear of what you are selling. So when it comes to pivoting, you know exactly what you do. So our product is national pride. So we asked ourselves the question, in the absence of the tourist, what can we do for the Ugandan to be able to give us some money? What product can we come up with? So the first thing that we did, a very low hanging fruit for us, was to start doing translations of the word Ondaba. Okay. I am so sad that I sent Ronald.
Belinda, we seem to have lost you there. Are you?
Can you hear me?
That's better. That's better. Yes.
Yes, I had got a voice call. Okay. So we decided to do translations. We translated Ondaba to Lusoga, and we immediately got new customers. There are people who had never bought our brands. We immediately translated Ondaba into Lusoga, and our sales started to go up. Then we also translated Ondaba into Runyankore. All right. And the people from Ankole gave us a nod. All right. Then we partnered with the Buganda government and created a shirt for the Kabaka. Okay. That also gave us a nod. So we had never tapped into that market of the Baganda. Fine, Ondaba is in Uganda, but we had never thought of something that focuses on the icon of the Buganda kingdom. So now when we came up with that shirt for the Kabaka, which is a brand extension, it is a brand extension of Ondaba, we immediately got new customers. Then we designed a shirt for Destination Sese. Yeah? What does Ondaba mean? Sandra Auma, Ondaba means, do you see me? Okay? Do you see me? And it is such a powerful statement. It is so powerful that we have discovered that the translations are just magical, yeah, and people love them in their local language. So we are actually going to do translations for as many languages as we can. All right. So I was saying that we did a shirt for Destination Sese. That one will be hitting the market very soon. And personally, when I realized that the sales for Ondaba had gone down and I needed to pay bills, I needed to pay my daughter's school fees, during the lockdown, I used to do training for entrepreneurs. And my daughter was always listening. So early this year, she came up to me and she said that she wanted her own brand. All right. I said, fine, we can as well use this to pay your school fees. So we actually came up with a brand called Volongo. To those who haven't seen it, I will share that. It will be included in the slides that I share. And Volongoto has picked up because people love the color. People love the color. of that Bolongoto brand, and we've given it an extension and also created another brand called Kampala out of it. So what I'm trying to tell you is that we had to look inward, look at the value that we offer, and then look at the opportunities that are present, right? What were the opportunities that were present for us to be able to pivot and make sure that we can find the customer where they had shifted. Okay, let's go on, Ronald. Next slide. So the customer shifted, like I have shared with you, and the major shifts that they made were physical and psychological. Now, the physical shifts can be measured. You know, people have been working from home. So if people are working from home, that means they don't drive to town anymore. They are not buying food from the restaurant that is close to their workplace. Probably they are not buying those shoes at that shop close to their office. Now, you need to realize that wherever the customer has shifted, that's where the opportunity is. If I am working from home, if customers are working from home, the shift is working from home. So we stop and ask ourselves the question, what are the opportunities for the customer working from home for my business? All of a sudden, we realize the cost of Crocs went up. Why is that? It's because people needed comfortable shoes to work from home. That there is an opportunity, all right? The cost of laptops and devices and the cost of internet, I'm sure the guys, for example, at Rock Telecom realized a surge in home connections because people needed to work from home. People were buying furniture for their furniture for their offices. They're buying printers. Those are the opportunities wherever the customer has gone. Right there is the opportunity for investment or the opportunity for business. So one, people are working from home. Two, people are shopping online. People are shopping online because one, well, it is convenient. And two, because there were restrictions in movement. If I cannot move, but Uhuru can deliver their pilau to my home, then that is an opportunity. If people are shopping online, then all of us need to find a way of tapping into the digital space. And it might not necessarily mean that you need to have a website, okay? It could be as simple as using your WhatsApp status to put your goods on the WhatsApp status so that people can see what you are selling. It could be something as simple as opening up a Facebook page or getting onto Instagram, taking pictures of your products and putting them onto Instagram and putting a contact and telling people, call this number, we will be able to reach you, all right? So people are shopping online. People are studying online. I know schools are closed. Some schools have not been able to make the shift into the online space, but schools have been studying online for quite a while now. So what are the opportunities there? People who have schools or people who are in the chain of education, all right? If you have been
you have available right now. Ronald, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Yeah, every time I get a voice call, I have to check that I am still on because that breaks the connection. Okay, what opportunities do we have for people going online? All right. Then we know that churches are also online. Believe it or not, there are opportunities right there because we know that churches collect money every Sunday. So are they using? Have they been able to take advantage of the mobile money transactions to be able to collect money from their followers? Okay, have they been able to share their message of hope online? What opportunities are present for you right there? Okay, and then of course other physical shifts are the health. people are trying to be healthy. I've seen so many of my friends who have ventured into making sanitizers. People have imported masks. There are so many stylish masks nowadays. There are masks for children. I mean, people are making sanitizers, the liquid ones, then there are all these hand washing equipment that people have ventured into because everyone is very conscious about being healthy. Those are physical shifts where we have opportunities as well. Okay. Now, they are the psychological shifts. The psychological shifts will not be easily measured. You may have to probe a little bit further. Psychological shifts, there's been a lot of introspection, especially for myself. I'll use myself as an example. When I came out of the lockdown, I refined my focus. All right. My dreams were refined. I made major decisions. I made major shifts in the direction of my career. I looked down and reviewed my life and I decided, okay, this is the direction I want to take because I know the things that I've been doing in the past maybe were not very we are not sustainable. So there's a lot of introspection that is going on, and that comes with business opportunities. Whatever decision that people make to make changes or to make progress or to make investments are very are opportunities for business. Okay, so there's introspection, there's a need for financial literacy, if I can call it, and also the need to improve our income streams. For example, we've seen quite a number of people starting up businesses. I don't want to call them side hustles because it is a business in itself. So people are trying, they're using their skills to see how they can earn more money. You know, some people have decided to lecture. Okay, so if I'm a branding person and I know people need branding knowledge, I'll use that as an opportunity to be able to train others and get some money. So how can I make more money? Because most of us have realized that you cannot rely on one income and you can actually use up all your savings. Because when you are trying to stay healthy, you do not think about the future, you know? Survival is critical. So it is very possible for you to dry up your account. So if you only had one source of income and you lost your job, that is not a very good place to be. So people have realized that I need to increase my income streams so that I have a semblance of financial independence. So many other things that people have decided to do, drastic changes. Some people have decided, I will not get employed anymore. I'm going to go and start a business. All these shifts are psychological and they present quite a number of opportunities for us. So I was actually quite pleased when I opened the Monday Daily Monitor newspaper. Ronald, let's go to the next slide. So there's that article that ran in the newspaper on Monday. Money in circulation grows by 256.6 billion shillings, and that was between June and July, signaling expansion in the economy and business activities, according to Bank of Uganda. You know, so if you have noticed that, well, customers, maybe your customer has shifted and you're not earning as much money as you used to before the lockdown, you might think that people don't have money. You might think that there is no money in the economy. Bank of Uganda tells us this is the money, this is the liquidity level, this is money in circulation. Fine, it is not money in investment, but it is money that is out in the market looking for opportunities. Yeah, it is money waiting for investment opportunities. It is money from people who are, who have made changes, who have decided to start businesses. This is the effect of the lockdown, and this is how much money we have in circulation. So this should comfort you. If you decide to make any change, you don't need to worry that people do not have money. The money is there. The money is there and it is in circulation. So you just need to tap into with your opportunity or whatever it is you have decided to do and make it count. Yeah, that is the money in circulation. I was quite comforted by this statistic. All right. So we also need to remember that even if the customer has shifted, their needs have not changed. The customer will still need to eat. They will still need education. They will need entertainment. Women are still shopping. Kids are still playing. They are celebrating birthdays. Weddings are happening. The customers have, their needs have not changed. So if the customers' needs do not change, then our products are still valid. Our products are still valid. So we can still do business, but we need to do business with a different mindset. Okay? So I know I've said a lot in the last couple of minutes, but this is what I want you to go away with today. Let's go to the next slide. You cannot use consumer insights you gathered before the lockdown to do business today. That information is outdated. It is outdated. Okay? So, and like I've said, the customer has shifted. If the customer has shifted, everything you had before the lockdown, it is not going to work. Okay? You can't even write a proposal to a client, even going to the bank to ask for money using statistics you had before the lockdown. It does not work. That is why I shared at the start of this talk that we are all now students. All right, let's forget everything we have gathered in the past. Maybe we can use it to give us a bit of direction, but it doesn't hold water. Statistics before the lockdown are obsolete. They do not work. The customer has made physical and psychological shifts in their buying process. Yes, they have made shifts, but their needs are still the same. So let us follow them to where they have gone and identify the opportunities there. You need to follow the customer to their new address and prepare a new message for them. I share that if we are talking about the customer shifts here, the role of branding here is to find the customer and give them the message that will push them to buy my product. So if I find them at the new address, I need to prepare a message that is suitable for them. You know, one of the banks in town, you see, they've been running quite a number of campaigns. You know, for example, DFCU is running a campaign saying, "Make it more possible." Okay, so many people may have been discouraged and they're not sure of how they are going to recover their businesses. But DFCU is saying we are making more possible. That is a message that the customer can listen to and embrace, and then go to DFCU and use their product. So whatever message that you are sending out, it has to be relevant to the customer at their, what can I call it? At the point they are at in life right now. Okay, then we need to train our staff on how to interact with the customer at their new location. You might not have an advertising budget. Yeah, I mean, these banks, they have huge advertising budgets. It could be that your biggest form of advertising is your staff and word of mouth. Okay, so if people know that we buy Kavera from Chikubo, but then now you have new customers who would like the Kavera to be delivered in their homes, your staff needs to know that, oh, by the way, we can also do delivery. So you need to train your staff on how to interact with the customer at their new location. Business innovation is key in meeting customers at their new location, and product extension will get you new customers. All right. Now, after we have looked at customer shifts, the rule of thumb for engagement with customers that enables business growth is every year, if you are looking at growing your business, you have to recruit new customers every year. Every business should recruit new customers every year. The beer companies do it because every year someone turns 18. They do it. The banks do it because people leave school, they get jobs, they get married, and they need to do projects. They start businesses, their income levels go up. So banks position themselves to attract new customers every year. The social marketing agencies do it because they know we have new adolescents every year. You know, so they have to target them with adolescent health. There are women getting pregnant. Maternal health is critical. There are women giving birth, you know. So for your business to grow, you have to recruit new customers. every year. Now, if the last year has shown us that we have even lost the new customers that we had, we need to reposition ourselves, find our the old customer to the place where they have shifted, and after we have settled, we need to focus on recruiting new customers every year for our business to be able to grow. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Belinda, for that submission. It was exciting listening to, I think, that image of the customer mind, largely because of the fact that I think many of us as entrepreneurs, we are still struggling to appreciate exactly where our customer has disappeared to. And those challenges are clearly still close to our hearts. But I think you have kind of helped us see that if the customer moves, the needs of the customer still remain, they are still alive. And our job is to make sure that how do we meet those needs in the new circumstances. We'll have an opportunity now to ask Belinda a couple of questions. There are two ways to do it. You can put up your hand and then speak up. I will, as soon as you put up your hand, I'll give you an opportunity to, and or you could just post your question in the, you just post your question on in the chat box, and we can quickly be able to pass it on to Belinda. We'll do that for a few minutes and then wrap up the session for today. Belinda, I think you answered the question on what Ondaba means. And I think that's one of the questions which we had here. So please do share your questions, or you could put up your hand. If you do, I'll give you an opportunity to kind of ask Belinda a couple of questions. Belinda, I think one of the questions which I have here, we have a hand up. This is sorry, I'm not very sure. Okay. Sorry. There is a hand from Belinda Rona. So Belinda Rona can go first, and then Rosemary can ask the next question. Belinda, you can just switch on your mic. Yes,
Good morning,
Belinda.
everybody. This is Belinda Rona Kawakuru. And thank you so much, Enterprise Uganda. Thank you, Belinda, the brands lady. My question rotates around the similar businesses that are being started or opened, especially as a result of this whole COVID pandemic impact or negative footprint, or actually footprint, because for some it's been positive. I'd like to hear from Belinda, what advice do you have for someone like me who has had to navigate the waters of losing employment, and then I have got to rush the delivery business. Market shopping would really do it for me, and I'm still struggling. Okay, well, 2 weeks into it, still struggling. And there's a lot of need to be, but I'm not really, I feel like I've got into these deep waters only to a newbie like me to get through this and yet scale up, because I have dreams of scaling this up, but I think I'm being clouded by the whole difficult situation breaking through. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Belinda. If I've lost the job, I really want to keep going. I hope Belinda will take a couple of questions. So you'll capture that one from Belinda. Rosemary, you can go, and then we'll hear from Dunstan. Rosemary, are you there? I'm having trouble. Yes, Dunstan, you can. All right, Rosemary, you can go. I think your mic is open now.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Thank you for that very good presentation. I think that what you emphasize here is that even though there's been a physical and psychological shift in the customer presence, the needs still remain the same. Now that brings to mind the importance for me. I think it's very important for us to know your customer. So I wanted you to throw more light. How do you get to know your customer? Because we know there's this rule that you need to know at least 20% of your key customers that account for 80% of your results or your income. And so can you throw more light on how, because I think more than before, it is so important that we know our customer, because when you're going to follow those customers wherever they are, it gives you an edge when you know who your customers are. And so tell us a bit about how do you get to know, what is KYC, what is know your customer? What do I have to do to know my customer? Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary. Dunstan, you can go next.
Yes, good morning. Thank you very much. And very, very good, interesting teaching of this morning. So my worries, or what I would want her to advise me in is I had started this the hospitality business here in Africa, and the brand I was managing, I was trying to spread it across the continent. I was trying to market across the continent, and I had got some different customers. Those are that I used to meet face to face across from different travels got limited. Factories where they used to manufacturing got hit from up to bottom, whereby even some even have gone down flat. Some the production is still low, and the business is really not really doing good with hotels when the travels are banned. So how do I to pick it up from there, and how do I brand it from such a mess that has happened? I would want her to enlighten me there, and if she can give me some advice of how I can pick it up from such a mess situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dunstan. We'll take a couple more, and then I'll give Belinda an opportunity to answer, and then we'll take another round. Emma, you can go. Emma, are you there? Emmanuel?
Ronald, can I suggest something? Ronald.
Yeah.
Can I
Yes,
suggest
please.
something? You know,
Please.
all these questions are, they're like a whole consultancy session. So they're not one response question. Okay. So I think let's first do that 3, because they might forget the gist of what people have asked. And yet sometimes what you need is just one nugget to help you see the light. All right. So I kindly request that I first do these 3 questions. And I would like to call Dunstan back to, he can switch on his microphone and tell us. I did not get what value he is selling. Dunstan, what is your product?
Dunstan, do you want to come back?
Okay, as we wait for Dunstan to come back, Billy, I'll go with, is he back?
Hello? Yes, please.
Dunstan,
This is Belinda. Yes, please.
What is your product?
I partner with 7 manufacturers of hospitality products: linen, washing machine, renders, everything being used, furniture. Throughout Europe, we have manufacturers in UK, in Pakistan, we have in China, India, and the USA. That's where the company, that's what we formed. There were many manufacturers which wanted to come up together. Suddenly, when the COVID came up, like hotels were hit,
Mhm.
across Europe, Middle East, and within Africa. And sadly, that in Africa, I was just starting the business.
Okay, stop right there, Dunstan. You have
Yeah.
you have partnered with people to make products that you would supply to hotels, right?
Yes, please.
So I will ask you a question. Who else can use those products? Can the health industry use them? Are they using linen?
The hospitals use linen.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is we need to look, you are not selling products, you're selling value. Okay? The value you want to sell to the hotel can be consumed by another person. Okay? Use linen. What else are these people manufacturing?
We are manufacturing like cutlery, crockery,
Uh-huh.
then furniture,
Okay.
um, entirely those washing machines, drying machines.
Exactly. So if I were you, I would ask myself, where has the shift happened? The shift has happened to the health sector. Okay? The shift has happened to the health sector. And I don't think we can even meet that demand. Okay. So can you start looking at opportunities for those items to be used in the health sector as the tourism sector recovers? It is my question to you. So it is the thing of value. Who else can consume my value if this industry is closed? I don't know if I'm helping you, because
Yes,
you might not, we might not help wait for the hotels to open. They might never open, or maybe they'll open in a staggered manner. But we have people going to hospitals, not just for the treatment of COVID, but there are also other diseases. Okay, so are you able to go and partner and talk to a health? There's a whole business chain in the health sector. So what point of the what point of the health value chain can you tap into? Not even just, it might not even be just the hotels. There are these mini boutique hotels. You know, you might be looking at the big 5-star hotels, but they're the mini boutique hotels that are working right now. Who else can consume the value that you are offering? It is sad that you had not yet started. You know, you were stopped in the tracks by COVID. Yeah, but that may be an opportunity for you to think very quickly. If I've invested in making this business decision, who else can consume this product? I'll give you an example. There's a friend of mine who does shea butter. Okay, she made shea butter just before the lockdown happened, and just as she was about to trade, we went into the lockdown. Now, shea butter is not very medicinal, but things like moringa oil are. So now she's decided to sell her moringa oil because she has another product. So who else can consume the value that you have, Dunstan? I hope that helps you.
Yes, thank you very much. That helps.
Okay, so Belinda asked about the errand opportunities. Belinda, I like that you. Okay, first of all, sorry about the loss of the job. Okay, job losses were very terrible during COVID, because all of a sudden you're pushed into a situation where you have to think what you are going to do. And like I said, there are so many people who are starting up quite a number of business ventures. I want to say that you are thinking in the right direction. Errands are very critical. At our business, we send out about 15 deliveries every day. Okay, now focusing on you said you want to focus on markets, doing errands for food. I want to assure you, Belinda, that the fact that people are working from home, they are very happy to embrace your business idea. Okay, because one, you're selling convenience. You are selling convenience, and you are dealing in a product that has utility. By utility, I mean, if I buy onions this week, I'll buy them next week, I'll buy them until the end of the year. Okay, so your product has utility, it has the ability to keep on bringing money for you. It's not like the Ondaba shirt that people wear once when they are traveling. You understand what I mean? So food is great. Now, what you need to do is to get even 5 customers that you can deliver food to every week. Get one to deliver to on Monday. You do shopping for them on Monday. Get one for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Start with the basics that they have. Okay, do a good job. Do customer service. Get for them the best product, and then keep growing, because that is a good business. Yeah, and then of course you need to have a bit of patience, because of course you're starting out. Start with the people that you know. You have not called me. I think I know you, Belinda. You've not called me to ask me to do my shopping. I'll be happy to give you that opportunity. So start with 5 friends, 5 members of family. Deliver our groceries every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Do your pricing well. Pay your delivery people well. Source your products well. And I'm very certain that you will be able to grow the business. Belinda, you can call me after here and we can have a further discussion on that. Now, Rosemary asked about knowing your customer. That's and I think my first slide I was attempting to do a KYC on the customer. Now, before you even start knowing your customer, you have to know your product. That's why I asked Danson, what value are you offering to the market? So first, know your product. What can your product do? What does your product do? Okay, what problem does it solve? My product solves the problem of giving people the opportunity to express their national pride. There are people who offer different products that offer different solutions. Now, after clearly understanding what value your product offers, you look at, now we go to the customer, know your customer. So if you've just started your business, let's say Belinda starts her delivery business and she starts with 5 of her friends. Okay, the first thing that Belinda has to do is to have our names written somewhere. My name should be written somewhere. You should open a file for me. Open a file for Belinda Namutebi. Okay, put my number there. Put my WhatsApp number there, because it's very easy to communicate with me via WhatsApp. Now, start monitoring what I am buying. How much money am I spending every week? And what exactly am I buying? Okay, so to know your customer, you have to know who they are, what is their contact, what product are they buying. Now, for some of us who have quite a number of products, I know when I produced the Kabaka shirt, I knew who was going to buy it, because I have them in a database. And what has helped me build that database is because I bill according to the name. So if you are billing properly and you have an invoice and a receipt that you give to Belinda Namutebi should have a profile in your business. The receipt and invoice will show what Belinda has bought and when she has bought it. That is already KYC information. Okay, now that is the basic information that you need to know. So if Belinda, this one, compiles a list of 5 of her customers, and then you realize that Belinda Namutebi spends 50K a week, then maybe Sarah spends 30. So you get how much money are all these customers spending in a week. So if Belinda decides to say that next week I want to ask these customers to buy moringa oil, you have gone to someone and you've cut a deal, and you know that if these are mothers and they are women, okay, so your KYC should also include things like, is it a male or a female? Okay, if you know that these are women and they're interested in beauty, you know what moringa oil does. You can come and sell the moringa oil to me because I already have a relationship with you. But how do I have a relationship with you? How do you know that I will need the moringa oil? You will look at the database in your system. Okay, now the thing of gender is very critical. Women and men shop differently. Women and men shop differently. A friend of mine told me the other day that the two things that run the US economy is women and pets. Because women shop. They shop makeup, they shop clothes, they shop for children, and then pets because people buy food for their pets. Okay, so you need to have all this information, even if it is in an Excel sheet. You need to know your customer, their name, you need to have their number, you need to have the products they are buying, how much money they are spending, and then after a month, you will see a rhythm of how they are buying, and then you will use it as an opportunity to sell to them new products. Then, of course, you can go ahead and do things like find out where they stay. If you realize that Belinda, if 5 of Belinda's customers stay in Kansanga, then you can get. If you realize that 3 of your customers live in Kansanga, then you get a border for Kansanga, so that you reduce on the delivery cost. Okay, but you will not be able to make that decision if this information is not collected. So on top of you making the pivots and going to find your customer, you need to record important information for your business. And I think the easiest is making sure that you do your receipts and invoicing absolutely well. I hope I've answered Rosemary's question. We can have other questions now.
Thank you, Belinda. We'll take Cuthbert, and then we'll take Emma, and I think and Brian, and then we'll give Belinda another chance to answer. Cuthbert, you can go first. Let's see.
Thank you very much, Belinda, for the good talk you've given us. I'm called Cuthbert Singoma, and I do business brokerage. I help people who want to buy or sell businesses. I don't sell cars, I don't sell houses, I don't sell land. I only sell businesses. Now, these businesses must be, of course, running. Now, during this COVID time, I've got very many people who are selling. But again, I have very few people who are willing, who are buying. Of course, before COVID, you could really know who can buy or who is selling. Because now for me, I have 2 types of customers: the buyers who want to buy and the sellers who want to sell. Now, of course, I'm getting challenges right now on how to move further, how to bring the thing further to more buy, to see if I can get more buyers, because I have many sellers, but I have very few buyers. So I don't know how, Belinda, you can try to show me where should I look at. I used to look at people who used to own businesses, guys who had money. But you see, these guys are not very worth into buying businesses. They prefer making their own businesses. They don't believe in buying someone's business. And many times they think that when you buy someone's business, you're buying someone's problems. So I want to know, how can I go further to these other people who have not gone into business? Because we have a lot of people in the young generation coming up who need to go into business. Because I've seen people, Ugandans are very interested into investment. That's why you see that many of them are investing into real estate, which has no return on investment. But how can I attract them to come to business? So Belinda, maybe you can help me. Thank you.
Thank you, Cuthbert. Please do drop your contact in the chat box. You may find a few people on here who are interested in your space, but I will allow Belinda to answer the question. Brian, you can go next, and then we'll have.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ronald, and thank you so much, Enterprise Uganda, and our teacher for the day, Bill. We appreciate you so much. God bless you. My question is, I was dealing in car hiring even before COVID-19 came. It's what I've been doing for quite some time. And so when the lockdowns came in, and majority of my customers were people who were coming from abroad, so I ventured into car washing. I have a car washing bay, and I also do car servicing as well, oil changing, filter, and some other things on vehicles. About branding, because currently how I have operated is I got a chunk of land by the main road, set up the place, And because it was the main road, I have leveraged on location. And I think my greatest asset has been location in terms of getting clientele. But now of late, I think I need to do some kind of branding because I'm adding some more things on the property. And I'm thinking about affordable branding. Of course, there's branding I can do myself, but I'm thinking about getting some kind of professional branding because where I am operating, my customer is educated, my customer is informed, my customer is a bit not very high end, but these middle earners who are easily attracted by good things. And most companies that I have talked to about branding really have high quotations. So I'm thinking about how can you advise me on how to do good quality branding affordably? I hope my question is clear, and I look forward to an answer. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Have a nice day to all of you. Back to you, Ronald.
Thank you, Brian. Then Maureen.
Yes, thank you so much for the presentation. We run a bakery in Masindi, and we are faced with increasing raw price materials. But unfortunately, when we increase the price of the bread, the customer is kind of resisting the change, and we are losing customers as a result. And to make it worse, the competitors themselves are still sticking to the old price, though we are all facing the same challenge of raw price increase. Now, my question is, how can we now maintain these customers, but at the same time, be able to make business, because we are losing a lot of money because of the prices which are increasing? Thank you.
Great, thank you, Maureen. I will read a couple of questions and then hand over to Belinda. Belinda, there is a question from Brian. Brian is saying, products that let me just capture questions here, then Belinda, I give you the mic so that we can wrap up within a few minutes. Yeah, the Victor wants a contact of the seller of the Moringa oil. I think there's someone who is interested in that business, so you can share that, Belinda. I think, Belinda, there are also a couple of people who may want your contact to simply be able to follow up on some more detailed conversations on the branding space. Francis Philippa says, can you share any customer profiling tools that we can adopt or use? You can touch on that, Belinda, as you answer. And then we also have just see quickly run. Yes, Monica from Gulu says, could you elaborate further on the best ways to continue to continuously stay connected to your customers despite the COVID-19 scourge, most especially the customers who are rural based? Yes, and Oscar is asking where he can get an Ondaba shirt translated in Runyankore. Belinda, I'll hand over to you, and then we will wrap up immediately after your session.
Okay, thank you very much. Ronald, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. The questions are quite many. If I miss any, you please remind me to answer it. Where can someone get an Ondaba t-shirt? Yes, I'm being selfish. Yeah, www.ondaba.ug. Okay, that is our website. All our products are there. And then someone is asking, what is the easiest way of doing customer profiling? So business people, when we need accounting services, we go to accounting professionals. Okay, when we need legal services, we go to lawyers. You cannot have an easy shortcut to doing customer profiling if you have not talked to a branding professional. And this is not me trying to get work for myself. Okay, you need to first hire a branding professional to give you the whole scope of the customer journey. And then the branding professional should be able to leave you with things you must do every day, every week, and every month to make sure that you stay connected to your customer. I don't think there's a short to, I can give you the formula in my head, but it will have gaps. You will need someone to go through it with you. So please talk to a branding professional, go through your brands, identify your value, know your customer, and then relate that with your product, create messages, choose media channels, and then work out a way of how you are going to work with your customer to make sure that you stay connected. Now, some of the questions that we are having about price increments, if I can call it that. First of all, I've noticed that most businesses have an issue with pricing. Okay, sometimes we price our products based on quite a number of factors. Okay, there are some entrepreneurs who do their pricing and they don't add their rent, they don't add their power bills, they don't add the cost of capital, they don't add the cost of salaries, and maybe they base on what everyone is charging on the market. Okay, now when it comes to increasing price, I will still drive you back to your customer. You know, you will look at your customer base and you say, okay, I have 80 customers. I want to increase my price by 2,000 shillings. Are my customers price sensitive? Okay. There are some customers who are not price sensitive. If you add an extra 1K or 2K, they won't mind. They will pay because they are your customers. But then there are customers that you have that are very price sensitive. Okay. You have to be careful. Now, if you didn't do the initial pricing properly and you have grown your customer base based on improper pricing, you're going to have a problem. Your pricing should be able to cover all your overheads, okay? And then earn a profit. Now, when it comes to a point where we have all these challenges in pricing in the market, the area to look at will be your profit, not the cost of doing business, not your overheads. Okay. So depending on your customers, you can sacrifice a bit of your profit for a moment in time because prices keep rising and falling. Okay. So if you know your customer is price sensitive and you did your pricing well, I think you can sacrifice a bit of your profit. I'm experiencing that right now. We all know what is happening to the textile industry, how URA is charging us lots of money for fabric. They are charging it, the cost has gone up, the tax has gone up. Now, the easiest thing would be for me to say, okay, my shirt is 50,000, and because we are paying so much money at URA, let me increase my price, my shirt maybe to 55,000. But I cannot do that because right now it's not a good time. It's not a good time. We have so many products on the market which are new, and we have old customers who have been with us for a long time, and our pricing is perfect. It covers all our costs. Okay, so we cannot fix a pricing problem after we have based it on a wrong foundation. So the lady who talked about pricing of bread, I will tell you that the most important thing you need to do is to first price properly and make sure that you're growing your business on a good pricing model. Now, all these price wars play around with your profit. Okay, you can make sacrifices. You can make sacrifices of your profit, but if it goes into your overhead, you're eating into the capital of the business, and that is quite dangerous. The gentleman who talked about car hiring, how he can get branding services for a reasonable, yes, you can get branding services for a reasonable price. I think you call me and I advise you. There's some people, it depends on exactly what you are looking for, but yes, they're affordable branding services. And people are not buying, so he's buyers. And the thing that popped in my head at that moment still is what value the businesses that you are selling season. If you're selling a health business that's making sanitizers, people will come and buy it. Okay. If you are selling a business that is aligned to where the customer has shifted Cuthbert, people will, I would buy it. I would buy it. But now we also need to know that eventually this season will end. Maybe it is not time to sell the business now. Okay. Maybe it is not time to sell the business now. And also, when you look at that money in circulation that Bank of Uganda has shared with us, it is an indication of people scrambling. The psychological shifts that people have made could be the ones that are stopping them from buying. Maybe they are holding money. There's an anticipation of a third wave. So I think you just need to be patient. But the most important thing that we have to do in branding is you have to be sure of the value that the business is offering, because that's what we all buy. We buy value. What is the value of the business? And if you spell out that value well to the buyer and you show them how it is relevant to this season, I'm sure they'll be able to make the purchase. Ooh, what didn't I answer? Ronald. Oh, my number. Okay. I have the number of the Moringa lady, the lady who is selling Moringa oil. It is on this phone that I'm using for the presentation, so I'm not able to get it up right now, but here is my number, and it's also on WhatsApp. 0752 327 567. Ronald, please help me type it in the chat. 0752 327 567. That is my number. It is also on WhatsApp. You can send me a WhatsApp with your questions and your queries. Ronald, do we have any more questions?
I think we're going to stop here for now. There are certainly a couple of more questions coming through, but we have to end. We promised to end by 10:30. So I think I'm going to post Belinda's number into the chat box. Please reach out to her. I think there's a point you have made which I think is critical to appreciate. There is a need to use professionals in some spaces in your business. Talked about the accountants, the lawyers. There is a whole family of branding professionals. Belinda is one of them, but she belongs to a bigger fraternity of people who help people in branding at various levels when you're starting, when you're growing. And I think that it's critical that we make use of these professionals. Sometimes a 30-minute meeting with someone, which will be the lowest cost possible, can be able to save you 3 years of walking in the wrong direction. So please do use those professionals who are out there to kind of be able to help you on this journey. And we will make sure that we avail and we network. As we mentioned, this is for us an opportunity to largely come together and say, how can we be able to lift each other out of the pit we are in. Belinda, there is a question from Cuthbert. I think Cuth, we possibly didn't touch on Cuthbert's. If you took a minute, you could possibly just quickly touch on it.
Oh, okay. So, okay. First of all, Ronald. I don't know. Is my mic on? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, Ronald, I have sent you the updated presentation, which also has my contacts. Okay.
Oh, okay, super.
Yeah, so it's customer shifts for enterprise Uganda recent. Please post that one. And then Cuthbert is the one who was asking about the selling of businesses.
Yes.
I think I did respond to that. I may not be in position to handle the whole scope of his question because I'm not brokerage. Okay, brokerage is a product, yeah. And for me, if it is a product, as a branding person, I will ask you, what is the value? The question that I had Cuthbert asking is that why is it that there are many sellers and very few buyers? And what I'm telling him is, if you extract the value of the business you are selling and you relate it to the customer shifts that we have discussed this morning, and you open up people's eyes. Yeah, you open up people's eyes. And one thing that I've learned in this season, that whatever the essential services, you all know about the essential services, the health sector, agriculture, what else, security services. Those are businesses that are going to, they are, what would be the word? Perennial. They are not fragile, they're anti-fragile actually. Those are businesses that will most likely not have adverse effects of the lockdown. They'll always be given a preference, okay? Because I mean, those are the businesses that we need to survive, especially in a pandemic like this. So I would ask Cuthbert to align the value of the businesses to the present circumstances, and then talk to the buyers and see if they can open up their eyes and maybe be able to buy these businesses. The other aspect of his question, it's not something I'm not able to, it's not something I'm able to answer right now. It could be things of how viable is the business? Do they have records? Are they legally compliant? Those are functional things that could be stopping some businesses from being sold. But when it comes to the value that the business offers to the market, that one is unquestionable. Okay, he
All
needs
right.
to know what value it is. And
Super.
then what else did I? Is there any other issue that I have not
No, I think that's
dealt
about
with?
it.
Okay, so
That should be about it, Belinda.
before I
Yes,
go, I
please.
would like to remind all of us that we are still in a pandemic and there are quite a number of shifts that are happening. It is very important for us to stay healthy, to stay safe, and because we are also customers of other services, we are not independent. No, we also consume other services. So it's very important for us to stay safe, and then also make sure your customers are safe as well, because if your customers are not safe, it's going to affect the growth of your business. So implement your SOPs, wear your masks, do the sanitization, do the social distancing protocols, because it is the reason. So thank you very much. Don't forget to get your Ondava products on www.ondava.ug, or you can send me a WhatsApp on my phone. Okay.
Super. Thanks a lot, Belinda, for that brilliant presentation. On behalf of Enterprise Uganda, it's an honor to have you to educate us as entrepreneurs. We want to thank everyone who has joined us today. It's indeed an honor that you have joined the recovery series and the broader Enterprise Uganda family. As an organization, we are out to make sure that we build strong and competitive Ugandan businesses, all the way from the micro to the medium size to large organizations, businesses which can compete, businesses which can create jobs, businesses which can transform our nation. We have been doing this for the last 20 years, and we are confident that together we'll be able to continue doing this. I've seen a number of names of people who are here on the call. We're very happy to have you. As we close, we'll keep the meeting open. Please do post the business you do, introduce yourself, talk about your business. I think I wanted to touch just briefly for a minute on Cuthbert's question. I think, Cuthbert, sometimes you are selling a product that people don't fully understand that they need. And I think that that's one of the challenges and possibly the big opportunities in your business. So adding a component of educating people the process of buying a business. People understand how to buy a plot of land. They understand how to buy a car. They are a bit, they don't fully appreciate how to buy a restaurant. That is not yet, there is a lot of work to get in there. So I think it is a job, an uphill task, but I believe a big opportunity. And I hope you shared your contact. There are a number of people who are interested in how do I invest into a business, and if someone who can be a good intermediary to walk this journey with them, as Cuthbert is, that's an opportunity which is clearly out there. So thanks a lot once again for joining. Please once again do post the business which you're doing if you haven't. Tell us what you do, and we can be able to work together on this journey. We are very happy. We will have our next session on Thursday next week. We'll be sharing with you that by the beginning of the week, to keep joining. and share with your friends, share within your networks, so that we can be able to kind of lift our businesses out of these challenging periods they're in. We as a company believe that businesses are the transformers we are looking for. They will create the jobs, they will create the demand, they will be able to supply the goods and services which people need. And we believe that that is something which is achievable. There are a couple of questions in the chat room. Make sure that those of you who haven't shared your businesses, please share. Julius is looking for Oscar of DFCU. They want your contact. Please do share it before you leave. Cuthbert did share her contact. I've seen Beatrice here. Beatrice, how are you? Thank you for joining. Yes, Slick and Slender has shared their location along Katonga Road in Nakasero. Plot 1 Katonga Road, just opposite the South Sudanese Embassy. As you go down to Fairway, that's where their facility is. Please do visit them. Maria Mwesigwa is into the pharmacy business. Thanks a lot for being here, Maria. We are very happy to have you. Natasha Punu is in Dana Logistics Services. We are very happy to have you. Thanks a lot for coming. We're going to keep the meeting open. Please do share your contact, share the business you're doing. If you have seen someone who you want to talk to, give them a private chat and tell them we want to link up and do business with you, so that together we can be able to grow and transform our country. Thanks so much, and have a lovely week. We'll be here again on Thursday next week. The presentation has been reshared. The new presentation, which has Belinda's contact, we have put it in the chat room. We'll also send it on email.